No. Good evening. The meeting of the Board of School Directors of the Kennett Consolidated School District for Monday, November 10th, 2025 is in order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Mr. Tracy, may we please have the roll?
Mr. Bowden?
Here.
Mrs. Carrillo? Mr. Kramer?
Here.
Mr. Finnegan?
Here.
Dr. Garrett?
Here.
Mrs. Golden Bjorky?
Present.
Mr. Cronenberg?
Here.
Dr. McVeigh?
Here.
And Ms. Myers?
Present.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. Ms. Carrillo is unable to join us tonight. Item number 1 on the agenda is approval of the regular meeting minutes from our meeting held October 13th, 2025. The recommended motion is that the board accept and approve the minutes of that meeting. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Dr. McVeigh, thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Finnegan. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We have no public comment to address an item on the agenda. I move to section number 3, reports and student business. First up is Mr. Solomon Cassell. Welcome, Solomon, for the Kennett High School Student Council report.
Good evening, members of the school board, district office, teachers, and members of the community. My name is Solomon Cassell. I'm a junior, a member of the student council, a member of the People of Color Union, and a state medalist in track and field. Kennett High School has been off to an amazing start. Thank you for this opportunity to share the following school updates on behalf of the student council. Student council held an activities fair on October 29th. 25 students had booths. We also hosted TCHS, Chester County Futures, and Octorara Homeland Security and Protective Services Academy. The Humanitarian Club is hosting a food drive for our community, and the National Honor Society is working with them to put together stockings for soldiers to give back to those who serve our country. Our concert choir has been invited to perform at the Cantante Festival at Temple University, and several choir members performed at a veteran celebration on November 7th. The Best Buddies Club hosted pumpkin decorating. The entire faculty and staff participated in a department costume contest on Halloween. The students voted, and the study hall staff won with the Scooby-Doo theme. The English department were the runners-up, dressed as Dr. Seuss characters. The football team made it to the playoffs, and our field hockey team are district champions. This past Friday, our football team took an unfortunate loss to Ruston, and the field hockey team lost to Unionville on Saturday. In a more positive light, now sitting at 3-0, the Kennett Hockey Club won against Westchester East on Friday, and this coming Friday, they play Avongrove. The second marking period began on October 30th, and juniors will be completing their graduation projects and interviews by midterm. Midterm exams begin on January 14th. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Solomon, for your report. Any questions? Hearing none, we move to the superintendent's report. Dr. Rizzo-Saunders, all yours.
Thank you. So we have up and coming information for you, but we also have, there is a survey out for the 2026-2027 calendar. Staff, students, and parents have about 2 more days in order to fill that out. And I will be bringing those results and a proposed calendar for next year at the next board meeting. We have our very popular STEM night. The event's going to be held on Thursday, March 5th, 2026. And we always want people to attend that. And it's a great evening of both community engagement with hands-on learning. We also had an experiential learning opportunity at Bancroft last month. Our students used containers, brushes, and lots of curiosity. They were able to examine stream insects, plants, snails, and crayfish, and there was a lot of talk about how these are essential in keeping our environment healthy. We want to congratulate 8th grader Zoe, who won this year for her cover art to be the cover of the 2025-26 yearbook. And we also want to make sure that you are aware that our Fall into Literacy Night was a huge success. Big thanks to Jen Miller, Becca Vetri, and our kindergarten teachers, and our elementary teachers, and our kindergarten principal, April Reynolds, and our elementary principals. It was a great night. So, in case you have not already heard, we have a record-breaking chorus accomplishment. We will have 12 Kennett High School chorus students who will travel with Mr. Batten to the American Choral Directors Association Eastern Region Honors Choir. That will be in February in Providence, Rhode Island. They will be going from February 25th to the 28th, and we are looking forward to hearing all about that. With that, I do want to bring your attention to a staffing update. So we are going to be moving one of our unfilled positions to MDL. That is an additional 1.0 special education teacher. There's been a rise of special education students, increasing the caseload numbers at Mary D. Lang outside of what is considered acceptable. So we will be moving. There is no cost to there. This is a net zero addition because we held back some unfilled positions, but we did want to make sure you were aware of that. And at the end of the report, I'll be happy to answer any questions. We did, and as Solomon already told you, we had a great run this year in our fall sports with our field hockey team being our district champions and our football team making it into the playoffs. Both are to be congratulated. Phenomenal coaching, excellent scholar athletes, and just looking forward to next year's season. Finally, I am going to turn it over to Mr. Cronenberg for thank you for service.
Thank you, Dr. Rizzo Saunders. We have the pleasure and privilege tonight of congratulating and thanking 3 board members for their service to the Kennett Consolidated School District. This is their final board meeting with us as members of the current terms. Mark Bowden is on his 2nd term as a member of the Kennett Consolidated School District. Mark moved from the borough, right, Mark? And then moved just outside the borough. It's frankly still feels like it's the borough, but you're in Kennett Township now. So Mark left and then returned to the board. Ethan Kramer is a representative from the borough and is a very passionate representative for the borough and for the borough's residents. And Dr. Jeff McVeigh joined in early 2020, just after my term started. Jeff, you started, and we got immediately thrown into COVID. So we learned about how to have Zoom meetings for school board meetings. But each of them has been exemplary, and service to the district is exemplary because of that service and because of the way they do that service. We want to thank you. And I'm going to invite Dr. Garrett to join me at the podium, and we can show our appreciation.
So what Are you doing this? I'm doing this? Okay, great. All right, we want to thank Jeff, Ethan, Mark for their outstanding service, and for each of them, we have a school bell. And on the school bell, I should have done this before we started, I apologize. And on the school bell, it has their name, the school district, and the years that they served. So with that, oh, it can't ring without. So you can ring this anytime you want to bother somebody at home, or if you go outside, you could really bother some of your neighbors. So thank you so much, Jeff, for your service to the board. Oh, you've been exceptional. Thank you. I miss you. Thank you. And we have Ethan. And then, of course, for Mark, he gets a second bell.
Thank you.
2 bells. So whatever you do with those.
Thank you, Nick. It's been a pleasure.
Again, thank you for their service. Everybody, a round of applause for these gentlemen.
Would you like to say any
Anybody?
words?
No, I'm tongue-tied. Thank you very much.
You can write it all down.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and this is a terrific district, and I was honored to be able to serve, so.
Thank you. Ethan, you want to say anything?
I too. Thank you all. This is really meaningful, and I will ring my bell proudly. I've often said that being a professional public educator, which is a category of people I hold in really high esteem, isn't limited to just being in a classroom. Everyone who has contact with a child, and I've said this often and will continue to say it, is part of that effort from the moment you get on a bus until you get into a clean, beautifully maintained, sometimes new school building. Those schools are our children's second home, and everybody who has contact with the child, who nurse them, who counsel them, who keep track of them, who answer the phones to make sure that everybody knows what's going on, those people are who I'm really grateful to. And I thank everyone who's listening to this, but also everyone who's represented here. I'm grateful. I hope that this board also will always remember that our job has always been to lift and support and trust those people. Trust isn't unconditional. It includes holding individuals to account and knowing what's happening. It includes ensuring that our educators reflect the community's values and aspirations. In a context in which teachers are often denigrated and dismissed, I hope that this body will redouble its efforts to support those whose interactions with our children create the hope for our future. Which brings me to my second point. Public schools are governed by representatives of the people, and those entrusted with that role are in many ways the government that matters most. In a country in which both sides of the grand divide agree that government isn't functioning as it should, getting back to basics means that the levels of government closest to the people need to be at their best. That means school boards need to make building government their be-all and end-all. Nothing else matters as much as that. And I'm tremendously proud of this board. The people here are serious, thoughtful, dedicated people who deliberately delegated administrative power to a true educator, which is the highest compliment I can give to Dr. Rosa Saunders and her team of extraordinary educators at every level. Thanks for all you do and for who you are. I'm truly proud of what we've all accomplished. I hope that nobody in our district is satisfied with how far we've gotten. There is so much to do to live up to the promise of a nation made up of individuals who care about our democratic republic enough to criticize it and reform it. I submit that KCSD is on a trajectory towards that ideal, and the measurement of who we are as a district should reflect that reality. This board can support and uplift its educators as they prepare our students to change the world, truly, but it will take continuing dedication and a steadfast commitment, and I know I leave that task in good hands with Ann Perry sitting there. But please don't lose sight of how important this is ever. But what I really wanted to get up and say, because I'm very proud of what's just happened in Kennett Square, has to do with another elected official. The first Mexican-American elected to public office in our region was Myra Zavala, was a graduate and came to the KCSD administration and board some years ago with an urgent message. She wanted to make sure that the fact that she was seen as a success, which was true, didn't make anybody comfortable with the pointing out that her success meant that the others who were being left behind, other Latina Hispanic students falling behind, didn't matter. She wasn't heard then, but that's still true. We should not accept the disparity of experience of students of color, students with disabilities, learning differences, students facing economic hardship. We need to pay close attention to that now as much as ever. I hope Myra's charge will resonate now at a time when we've truly made progress in this area. It's far from enough. But we should also look to Myra and others examples of how well things can go. Tonight, Juan Tafoya is here. He graduated from Kennett only last year, but has just overwhelmingly won a seat on our borough council with support across the entire community. He's the youngest person ever to be elected to office in Kennett, and he is a credit to KCSD. Juan, can you stand up? Juan is a reformer and someone who will challenge us sometimes to change, sometimes just to listen to all sides, as he has done. He is a different kind of leader, a leader of the future, and we should follow him and the other young leaders among us. Wherever they go, they will take us all with them, and that makes me hopeful. My parting charge to the board and the professional public educators of the district is to keep Juan in your minds. Every student in our classrooms can do something with their unique skills and talents and gifts to build our community and our society, and the country we face needs them urgently, not in 10 or 50 years, but right now. I've tried to live up to the standards of Juan Tafoya and Myra Zavala. As a board member, I've tried to support the professional public educators who raised them up. I've tried to address the injustices that tried to hold them back. It's unfinished work. Stay the course, and thank you. Oh, and I'll throw my bell on the ground. Thank you all.
I just want to take a moment to say a couple of things. First of all, two things really. I've told many people this. My family came to the area about 20 years ago. We had an opportunity to live anywhere that we wanted to live, and we chose this area because of this school district. And so it has been a real, an amazing opportunity and pleasure for me to be a part of this board. I also, as part of that, I want to say thank you. When I look around the room, the teachers and administrators that are here right now are the people that shaped my three children to be what they are today, and I can't thank you enough. And it's been an honor to kind of be on the board and try to support the things that you've done. I've seen you do for 20 years and in the last 6 years on the board. I also want to say thank you to those on the board now and to our superintendent and Mark, everyone sitting up here. It's been a wonderful board to work with. I'd say I think we've done a really good job of keeping politics at the door and not forgetting why we're doing what we're doing. Every person here has got a different opinion. I've learned a lot by hearing the opinions of others, and we all seem to come together because we don't lose focus on what it is that we're trying to do for the children of this district and for trying to think through what we need to do for the future. And I've said to the administration before, I work in the public sector. We have enough trouble making decisions and executing plans just for the people that work at the company that I'm at. I have no idea how you do that and then come to a board and have a whole nother group of people that you need to sort of get on board and get support behind what you're doing, but you do a great job of that. So thank you very much. It's been a real privilege, and it's been an honor to be a part of the board. Thank you.
Thank you all. We will move forward.
So I would just conclude my superintendent's report by opening it up for questions about the staffing at MDL, or anything else you want to ask me questions about, really. Great.
Hearing
much.
none, thank you, Dr. Rizzo-Saunders, and thank you again to our board members who are departing. We move to the facilities report. Mr. Price.
Dr. Rizzo-Saunders, President Cronenberg, members of the board, staff, and community members, good evening. The facilities report for November the 10th is as follows. New Garden construction update. The New Garden Elementary project is proceeding according to plan, with all contract milestones being met. Site infrastructure and building systems are advancing simultaneously to support project completion. Site work that's under progress. Continued installation of exterior concrete for stairs, sidewalks, and miscellaneous site walls. Ongoing preparation and pouring of sidewalks. Continued installation of the grinder pump. Site curbs preparation is underway. Installation of the hard play surface has been completed. Terrazzo installation has been completed in all areas except for the ramps in areas A through C. Installation of site fencing has begun. Wall color application is ongoing. Sinks and water hookups are being installed. Acoustic panel ceiling installation continues in all areas. Electrical teams are terminating wires at panels in preparation for permanent power. Window and frame installation is ongoing. The installation continues throughout the tile installation continues throughout the building. Preparation, installation, and grinding of terrazzo flooring for Area A ramp is underway. Pipe and duct installation in areas A and B continues. Interior metal stud framing for Area A and all ramps is ongoing. Drywall finishing continues throughout the building. Toilets, sinks, and urinals are being installed and connected. Ductwork connections are being finalized in all areas. Electrical conduit and lighting wire are being installed. Sprinkler rough-ins continue in all areas. Grills, registers, and diffuser installation is underway. Light fixtures are being installed in areas A, C, and D. The Greenwood project. The Greenwood Elementary project is also on track, meeting all contractual milestone dates. Site finishing work and interior system installation are primary areas of focus. Basin number 2 installation has been completed. Excavation and installation of the retaining wall have commenced. Tile in of building drains to basin temporary bypasses has been completed. Excavation for grounding wire around the building is ongoing. Main water service installation is complete. Hydronic piping for HVAC system is complete in areas B and C. Brickwork on the north and south sides of Area A is complete. Electrical switchgear has been delivered to the site. Patio foundation walls are complete. Window and door frames are installed on ground floor of Area E. Brickwork continues in the courtyard between areas A, D, and E. Pulling of MC wire continues in all areas. Installation of domestic water lines is ongoing. Boxes and conduit installation within masonry walls continues. Pipe insulation work is ongoing where applicable. Masons continue to set CMU interior walls in areas A, B, and C. Construction of the retaining wall at the rear of the new playground is ongoing. The district office update. The foundation is underway and construction of the new addition is starting to get traction. Kennett High School and Kennett Middle School field projects. The baseball fields and softball fields for both Kennett High School and Kennett Middle School had maintenance completed. This maintenance was done in the fall, so the fields will be ready for the spring. Safety and security. Last week, we had our quarterly meeting with our local law enforcement and EMS. We reviewed KCSD's current practices and procedures and addressed any issues that needed updated or modified. Central Maintenance installed 2 exterior AEDs, which will enhance our safety on our playing fields. They also installed an AED right here in the foyer here, which in the near future we will get some more signage for. It's part of our initiative to beef up all of our AEDs throughout the district. This concludes the facilities report for November the 10th. Thank you for your attention.
Mr. Bryce, thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Bryce? I have been told by Mr. Tracy, and I'm not sure that everybody's aware, but board members are always, can always take a Wednesday tour of our new buildings and the construction of the new buildings. So if that's something that we're interested in doing, please let Mr. Tracy or Mr. Bryce know. We move next to the financial reports. Mr. Tracy.
Thank you, President Cronenberg. If I may just add one item to Mr. Bryce's report. There are rumors out there we are on schedule to open both buildings in the fall of 2026. I know we had individuals at Greenwood. A little rumor was spreading out throughout the faculty and the community that it didn't appear that we'd be on schedule, but we expect New Garden substantially complete in January, final completion at the end of March. And then Greenwood, we're expecting substantial completion in March with full completion in June. So we are right on time, right on schedule. The furniture bids for both buildings, this includes all student chairs, desk, teacher, desk, kiosk, will be opened November 14th, this Friday, at the Chester County Intermediate Unit. So we expect to bring the bid awards to the board for the December board meeting. With that said, I'll move on to the financial reports. On page 1, we have the revenue summary report for the period ending October 31st. At the tail end of the revenue summary report, we have a listing of our cash and investments, $68,973,519.84, and Schedule A, which lists all of our fixed investments. On page 4, we have the expenditure summary report, which details our expenses in our budgetary format. On page 9, we have our food service profit and loss report. We had a monthly net profit of $110,551.90 and a year-to-date profit of $175,595.06. However, please note that we have not received our National School Lunch Program subsidies for the month of October, nor have we received Chartwell's bills for September and October. On page 10, we have the Capital Projects Fund report. This report details our current bond proceeds and expenses associated with both of our construction projects at New Garden and Greenwood. It does not include the district office that is being funded out of our capital reserve account. On page 12, we have a very small interim real estate report. It's actually a reduction in one previously billed interim. We do have several interims that are under appeal. The largest is for the Kennett Apartments currently. We have engaged legal counsel, and we're actively negotiating a settlement with that entity. We also have a tax assessment appeal with the Wawa located in it's East Marlboro Township up on Baltimore Pike. That one, they did not present an appraisal report, but we do expect them to appeal. But they're the only two large ones for this year. The last report in the document, which is included in board docs, is on page 13. It is the enrollment report for the month of October. It illustrates that we're down 15 students from the prior month, 3,737 students, and down 76 students from the prior year.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. Any questions or comments? Mr. Tracy, I'm going to make a couple general statements, and please correct me if these are incorrect. I note that the district has not addressed either the failure of the state of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, sorry for native Pennsylvanians, failure of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to pass a school budget, nor have we put anything together around the federal budget and how the shutdown is affecting the district. And I would state that the reserves of the Kennett Consolidated School District are sufficient to cover our immediate future needs, and that we obviously hope and expect that both governmental entities will pass budgets and supply the funding which we expect to be supplied with. But in the near term, we are good to go. Mr. Tracy, anything to add?
Just one clarification. When we establish that we have enough reserves to fund us in this impasse of both the state and federal budget. Predominantly, that is due to our imposition of the real estate tax. We bill about $75 million in real estate taxes, which makes up over 70% of our revenue. The majority, almost 95% of that, comes in the months of July and August, as individual residents and commercial industrial taxpayers are taking advantage of the 2% discount. Then we collect on through December, but the bulk of that money is in hand and is fully invested and available for the board's inspection if you'd like to see the investments that are held in the district's name.
Thank you very much for that addition, Mr. Tracy. We move next to the TCHS and CCIU report. Dr. Garrett.
Thank you. The Chester County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors held its monthly meeting on Wednesday, October 15th at the CCIU Learning Center. I'm just going to highlight two items. The interim principal at the CCIU, Victor Brown, gave a presentation on the new Senior Blitz program at the CCIU Learning Center. He explained that the Senior Blitz program is a proactive initiative designed to ensure that every graduating senior is fully prepared for life after high school. The goal is for every senior to graduate with a clear, actionable plan and the confidence to take their next steps successfully. The second item, something that is somewhat unique, BVA has started a wellness check-in program, and Mr. Kevin Ballisti gave a presentation on that basically this is a support system for students with Brandywine Virtual Academy, that each student has to participate in a weekly 15-minute on-camera live check-in with a BVA teacher focused on safety, disabilities, welfare, and relationship building. And this initiative has been met with strong support from parents and districts and helping to set new statewide standards for online student wellness, which is a pretty unique concept that BVA is initiating. Our next meeting with the CCIU will be held on November 19th, and it will be at the Technical College High School, Pennock's Bridge, which isn't that far from here. If anyone wants to come, you are welcome. It's like a 25-minute drive. And I think it would be well worthwhile if you have the time to do that. It's a 7:30 meeting on November 19th. Thank you.
Dr. Garrett, thank you very much. Any questions or comments for Dr. Garrett? We have no meeting this month no report this month on the Chester County School Authority. We move to the Legislative Council. Mr. Kramer.
Before we move on to that, just
Yeah.
a procedural question, I guess, for yourself and Mr. Tracy. Should we add the Kennett Area School Authority as a no report agenda item until they disband, since we created them?
That's totally at the board's discretion.
As a reminder, the Kennett Area School Authority was an older body which actually held the deeds to the land on which some of the Kennett schools were built. It was reconstituted by this board last month in order to move the deeds from that body to the Kennett Consolidated School District. I will take it under advisement, Mr. Finnegan. I think as long as we have no meetings and no meetings are scheduled, I do not see the need to add them to the agenda. But if you disagree, or if anybody wants to disagree.
No, it's just unsure that since it's a body we created, if we have to say that they have no report, that's all.
Yeah.
I would like to see that, only because we lost track of it once before. So if it's on the agenda, at least when boards turn over, it won't be lost track of again until it's dissolved. But that would be the only reason why I would say just have it on there. It doesn't hurt to add that and not report on anything.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. We will discuss it then. We move to the Legislative Council. Mr. Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Legislative Council continues to meet. They're behind in the minutes that are prepared by the staff, which is understandable, and I'll ensure that those get forwarded on to be presented to the board as they come up. That is a very interesting group. There are very good updates coming from the staff of the CCIU, and I do hope somebody will take that on in terms of getting all the school boards in the county together to take action. It has been somewhat complicated, I think, in that those personnel changes, the representatives from each of those boards changes pretty frequently. But I do think that there's a real opportunity at this stage to engage with that group, and I hope somebody will take that on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Any questions or comments? We move back to Dr. Garrett for the Curriculum Committee report.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Garrett.
The Curriculum Committee met on October 27th, and the topics were the MTSS update and the title funding and staffing. And I want to thank the staff members, Cassandra Jones, Jen Miller, Rebecca Vitri, and Brenna Austin for their presentations. Again, those are, both presentations were not only exemplary, but very detailed, and I really encourage folks who have not seen it yet to please go to our website, to Board Docs, and watch the video. Again, there's just too much detail for me to even begin to summarize, but both of these topics are really quite important to the district. I encourage you to do so. Our next meeting will be November 24th, before the week of Thanksgiving, and the topic will be data review, and that will also be, I believe, to be a very informative topic. So please, we welcome you to join us. We like to see people in the audience. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garrett. Any questions or comments? We move to the Finance Committee. Mr. Finnegan.
Thank you, President Cronenberg. I'll be very brief because there's a sporting event tonight some people want to see. We had our Finance Committee meeting. The minutes will be approved at our next meeting, so they're not attached here yet. We started with a report on from our independent auditors, and once again, Kenneth has an excellent audit, completely clean for thanks to those here from the Finance Department, all those that aren't here. It is not the final report because it can't be finalized because due to the federal shutdown, the guidelines of filing final reports isn't available yet, so it's a good report, but it's not final. Hopefully that won't affect anything we need a final report for bond issues and things like that, but everyone's in the same boat there. We briefly discussed the RACP refiling now that the Kennett Area School Authority has relinquished control of the lands back to the Kennett Consolidated School District. And then we went over building allocations and the debt service schedules, and I encourage people to go in and look at the files attached to Board Docs from that finance meeting to get more details.
Thank you, Mr. Finnegan. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we have a Policy Committee report. Mr. Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. President. In my absence, Ms. Myers chaired the meeting, and that was a labor of love because her voice was going, so that was a good meeting to listen to. And Ms. Golden Meraki was present, and that meeting covered 11 policies, which is remarkable, so thanks to everyone who took part in preparing those policies. Many of them were minor updates, or there were several that were just reviews, financial reports, financial policies that had not been reviewed for some time. They will all come up here in due course, and we're going to discuss a couple of them in more detail as part of this board's consideration. But I would note that Dr. Rizzo Saunders, Dr. Barber, and Dr. Brady all presented, and that the policies included organization, meetings, which had a number of elections that had to be made, and the committee did an excellent job of discussing that. In the course of that, there was a discussion of parliamentary procedure, and that will come up in the next few minutes here. Fiscal objectives, budget planning, and new agendas. Those are two more policies: budget preparation, budget adoption, tax levy, tax collection, investment of district funds, and tax-exempt debt post-issuance compliance, if you want a mouthful, were all considered, with two exceptions, those will all come to the committee as a slate, to the board as a slate with a recommendation to be approved. Any questions can be directed to me and to the members of the committee who were present. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Any questions? We move then to routine business section of the agenda. First up is Ms. Marsala with the personnel report.
Good evening, President Cronenberg, Dr. Rizzo Saunders, members of the board, and members of the community. Tonight, I'd like to present to you the personnel report for November 10th of 2025.
Thank you, Ms. Marsala. The recommended motion is that the board approve the following personnel changes as presented. All personnel hires are contingent upon securing required certification. May I please have the motion?
Move to approve the changes as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. A second?
Second.
Ms. Golden-Miyake. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you. Ms. Marsala, note 4.2, attainment of professional employee status.
Yes, and tonight it gives me great pleasure to present the following name, Marta Carletti, who has been certified as meeting all of the requirements to obtain professional employment status with the Kennett Consolidated School District.
Thank you very much for that information. We congratulate Ms. Carletti. We move to item 4.3, the bill list. Mr. Tracy.
Thank you, President Cronenberg. This evening, we have the usual and customary monthly reports or bill list. Beginning on page 2, the general operating bill list for the period of October 14th through November 10th in the amount of $3,970,090 even, and an additional $2.9 million in payroll disbursements. The payroll is a little bit higher than normal. We did have a 3-pay month. At the end of the general operating bill list, we have the PNC procurement activity listed on pages 20 and 21. On page 22, we have the athletic fund bill list for the month of October, which represents payments for officiating and other activities associated with the boys and girls athletic programs. On page 25, we have the internal service fund for our self-insured health care, that's medical, prescription, and dental, in the amount of $918,111.24. On page 27, we have the capital reserve bill list in the amount of $132,597.92, which represents payments for various facility improvements as outlined in the district's 5-year capital improvement plan. On page 29, we have the capital projects fund bill list in the amount of $4,247,795.94, which represents payments associated with the new elementary school building project. And finally, for this evening, on page 32, we had the food service bill list in the amount of $190,740.43.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. The recommended action is that the board approve the bill lists. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Garrett. Any questions or comments? On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We move to new business. First up is student trips for wrestling. This is probably the annual wrestling student trip. Mr. Barlow, thank you for being here. Thank you for being our new wrestling coach, and off you go.
You're on. You were on.
Excellent, thank you. Yes, thank you for hearing me. I was just coming, like you said, to ask for permission for our annual trips. One will be the Coal Cracker Tournament in Lehighton, PA. It's varsity and JV, so we take the whole team up to that tournament. The other one is Bethlehem Holiday Tournament, and that is just varsity only. But we'll use the funds from the boosters to pay for the hotel rooms, and we ask permission to use the school vans also for the trip.
Mr. Barlow, thank you. Let me put the motion on the floor, and we'll see if we have any questions. The recommended motion is that this following student trips be approved in accordance with Board Policy 121, field trips. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Ms. Golden-Miyake, second.
Second.
Mr. Finnegan, Any questions or discussion? I will note that the details of the trips are in the public content section of the motion. That being said, no further comment. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Mr. Barlow, if you're good to
Thank you
go.
very
Good
much.
luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yep.
it.
Appreciate you being here. We move to item 5.2, Dr. Miller and Mrs. Vitri. First up is reading A to Z.
All right. Good evening, President Cronenberg, Dr. Rizzo-Saunders, and board members. We are requesting approval to adopt Reading A to Z as a supplemental reading resource to support differentiated literacy instruction in grades K through 8. Reading A to Z provides additional instructional materials designed to support different literacy skills such as fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. It's a supplemental resource to be used with our small group instruction, intervention, or enrichment. We've had some of our ELD teachers exploring Reading A to Z, and they have found many of the resources helpful when supporting their instruction. This is funded through Title I, and because of the cost of Reading A to Z, we are bringing it forth for board approval.
Thank you very much. The recommended motion is that the board approve the agreement with Reading A to Z for K through 8 within Kennet Consolidated School District for use as a supplemental resource to support reading. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second, Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Questions and discussion?
How are you going to measure the effectiveness of the supplemental program?
So we're looking at things right now, especially during our curriculum writing, and we're talking with teachers. That's why we had some of our ELD teachers specifically take a look at the resources. And what we're going to do is we need to look at the data that we have with our small group instruction when we're providing our tier 2 and 3 interventions through MTSS to see if these resources are making a difference for the students.
Other questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you. We move to item 5.3, News ELA.
Good evening, President Cronenberg, Dr. Rizzo-Saunders, board members, and community members. We're presenting News ELA for board approval and have included the quote and sole source letter for reference. This purchase will be funded through Title I funds and will serve as a supplemental resource to support differentiated instruction in the middle school level. News ELA is a digital platform that provides high-interest, standards-aligned articles across a variety of content areas, including science, social studies. It provides current events and focuses on literacy. Each article is available at multiple reading levels, enabling teachers to provide the same core content to all students while meeting individual reading needs. Through this resource, teachers will be able to strengthen literacy skills across disciplines while supporting all learners through accessible, differentiated instruction.
Thank you, Ms. Vitri. The recommended motion is that the board approve the agreement with News ELA for grades 6 through 8 at Kennet Middle School for use as a supplemental resource to support differentiated instruction. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Second, Kramer.
There we go. Ms. Golden Miyake and Mr. Kramer. Questions and discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you both. We move next to the motion on policies. Mr. Kramer, you mentioned in your policy committee report that the committee would like to address these not as a whole of the 11 policies, but to take 2 out. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. President. So the motion will be that we approve the above sections of board policy and adopt them as policy, rescinding and declaring void all previous policies or portion thereof to the extent that they are inconsistent with these policies, applying to all policies listed except for 603 and 006.
Got it. Thank you. So I'm going to restate what you just said. The recommended motion is that for policy 005, 601, 602, 604, 605, 606, 608, 609, and 609.1. You got that, Dr. Brady? Thank you. That the board approve the above sections of board policy and adopt them as policy, rescinding and declaring void all previous policies or portions thereof to the extent that they are inconsistent with these policies. May I please have that motion?
So moved, Kramer.
Thank you. A second?
Second, Myers.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion?
So I would, I listened to this, meeting, and I was impressed by the depth and discussion. All of those policies that have been mentioned so far had various changes. A couple of them, as I mentioned, are just need to be, the date needs to be updated, so it's shown that they have been reviewed by the board more recently than, 2018 or in several cases. So these are these are updates, and I think it reflects very good work by our staff in terms of taking PSEBA recommendations, in terms of going through policies, making sure that things are up to date. And I strongly recommend that we pass that full slate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We move now to a recommended motion that for policy 006, that the board approve the above sections of board policy and adopt them as policy, rescinding and declaring void all previous policies or portions thereof to the extent that they are inconsistent with these policies. May I please have the motion?
So moved, Kramer.
A second.
Second, Myers.
And let's discuss.
I would like to move to amend this one. My voice was really terrible at that meeting, so I want to say that it was likely me, so I want to just put that out there. So in the delegation of responsibility, the last sentence in that, I want to replace it with, Finance Committee shall recommend portions of the budget as available for full board consideration. So the point that I was making with that addition was that the Finance Committee takes chunks of the budgets and they go through each month. And so to avoid some of the challenges that we had in terms of certain staffing being added or not being able to be added, we could have those conversations in the forefront so that if we bring the portion like new and reallocated staff to the full board for consideration, that piece could get a thumbs up, thumbs down, vote from the board for inclusion in the preliminary budget so that there's no shockers when we get to those portions. And I know we do that with technology, we do that, the Finance Committee talks about each of these components, so that's what I was considering with that change. But again, my voice was really bad at that meeting, so I'm sure that was not conveyed in this way.
I appreciate this, Ms. Myers. So I'm looking at policy 006. Can you help me with where?
I think she was. 603, sorry, did I do the wrong one?
Yes. So I think there's some confusion. So if I could procedurally.
I needed to not do that.
Ms. Myers has just made comment on.
Yep, 603.
603.
Yep. Which, and we will hold the comment
So
until
we'll
we get
hold
to
that comment to 603.
But your voice was very clear, Ms. Myers.
Sorry, I have it in a different order on my sheet, so my apologies.
In order. So, but perhaps if.
But I will.
So if you go back and.
Yeah, so I want to amend 006 as well. And that in our policy committee meeting for that one, we said that we wanted to bring to the full boards, to get the full board's opinion on whether we insert a parliamentary procedure or leave it vague in the way that it's represented now with respect to whatever parliamentary procedure we want to use. We've had a couple of board discussions about this particular one. So I'm talking about the first section, parliamentary authority. it was suggested that we insert our current parliamentary authority. We don't currently have one. What we have is that we may use Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised. Again, that is not necessarily saying that we're keeping one or not. And so the policy committee was split on this one, and so we were going to bring it. We had suggested in our policy committee meeting to bring this to the full board for consideration and determination.
So I don't, is there a specific motion to amend? Let me phrase it that way.
Yes, I move to amend policy 006 to insert Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, including small group rules, taking out the may use.
And I second that motion.
So the amendment is the board will follow rather than may choose to follow?
That, yes, that we will insert the parliamentary procedure without the may.
Okay, so I'm looking at the red line document here, and I see where there is a potential for insertion, but that's crossed out. The non-crossed out portion is the board may choose to follow Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised. And what I think I hear you saying is the board will follow Robert's Rules of Order.
Correct.
Newly revised. Got it. So the amendment is to replace may choose to with will. Discussion.
I hear the amendment. I know we've had discussion on this, and we actually had our solicitor in on one of the meetings that said that we, have to follow a procedure. We don't have to follow Robert's Rules of Orders. And I don't think we came to a full board conclusion of which way we wanted to go with that. So I'd like for the entire board, maybe with the 3 new members as well, to discuss how we want to run this. So table these changes until we have a workshop or a full board meeting to continue to discuss with legal advice as to what we could do, what we should do, all those fun words. That would be my suggestion.
I tend to agree with you on that, Mr. Finnegan, and I also think that we need to have a real clear understanding of the Robert's Rules of Order. I'm not sure everybody really knows. I mean, I actually have a booklet. It's pretty intense in the sense of what it covers. So I really would like to take the opportunity for more conversation and also to make sure everybody really understands what Robert's Rules of Order entail.
Ms. Myers, would you be amenable to tabling this motion?
Yeah, the motion would be to postpone it to a particular time, but if you
Yes,
wanna-
until we can have
yeah,
a
that's-
full board discussion on,
That's, again,
actually lay out what it is that we do so we can compare it against what it is we would do different should we adopt Roberts. I don't think that's clear enough right now because, as you pointed out, we don't really document exactly what it is that we do. So I think understanding what we do and comparing it to what we should do would be a good conversation to have.
and that was one of the discussions that we had in the committee, that Roberts is just an easy insert. We could also document what we currently do in order to have that as our parliamentary procedure. But again, my biggest point was that I feel very strongly that we need to have something that's documented that we can point to and follow. So whatever version that looks like.
I agree with that.
So we have a motion on the floor to amend. I am going to ask that we vote on that motion and that for the purposes of the future discussion that we vote nay on this motion to amend, and then I will present a motion to table. So on the motion to amend, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
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 Opposed.
Any abstentions? The motion to amend fails. May I have a motion to table?
I'll make that motion.
It would be the postpone.
So I don't think we need a motion. Once it's done, if you'd like to bring it up again, it can be brought up again, but I don't think you need.
Well, we have the motion on the floor. Don't we need to act on the motion that's on the floor for policy 006?
So, yeah. We do. So we need to act on, either vote on that or postpone the discussion. If you don't, then it would still remain as may. a yes vote would.
Right. Well, and what I'm suggesting is, I will use the phraseology of a motion to postpone, and that we will then not hold a vote on that motion tonight. So may I have a motion to postpone?
I'll make the motion to postpone.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We will postpone the vote on policy 006. We move now to policy 603. The recommended action is that the board approve the above section of policies and adopt them as policy, rescinding and declaring void all previous policies or portions thereof to the extent that they are inconsistent with these policies. Again, we're on 603. May I please have the motion?
So moved, Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Second?
Second, Meyer.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. And Ms. Myers, can you please state again?
Yes, I can, at the appropriate time. So there is delegation of responsibility. The last sentence, I would like to replace that with Finance Committee shall recommend portions of the budget as available for full board consideration.
And I will second that amendment.
Thank you.
Sorry to ask, but can you say that again?
Yes, my motion is to amend, so we put the motion on the table, then my motion is to amend to that sentence to be replaced by the sentence I just read.
So this is the sentence starting with the Finance Committee Chair may?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
but
And
that
what's the new verbiage?
That sentence was not originally in there when we had Finance Committee. It was added based on a comment I made in Finance Committee, but again, my voice was bad, so this is the actual sentence that we wanted
And I
to
hate
be
to ask, but
included.
can you give your replaced
steal
sentence?
again?
No, the replaced sentence. What you-
Yes, I can. The Finance Committee shall recommend portions of the budget as available for full board consideration. So, and I can add the context to that. The context for that is the Finance Committee is already having meetings that are talking about technology, the new and reallocated staff. We talk about facilities, et cetera, in these committee meetings. So as those portions of the budget, as the Finance Committee gets into the weeds of those portions of the budget, there's some sense of what likely will be in the preliminary budget, that portion can come to the full committee for consideration to be included in that preliminary budget so that there are no kind of surprises with respect to the constraints we have with staff, the things that we have to include because of internal and external constraints. I mention this because we had a conversation about kind of late in the budget process last year, potentially adding a particular staff member, and we could not do that because, again, those allocations had already been established. So I'm hoping that if we bring portions of the budget to the full board in pieces in this way, that it will eliminate some of that surprise once we start actually having the vote on the preliminary budget to be posted.
On the motion to amend, we have a motion and a second. Let's have further discussion on that, please.
One of the reasons I'm pleased to leave this office is that Ms. Myers is somebody who has spent a career working with various kinds of procedures in county and local governments, and her extensive experience in this leads me to feel strongly that her suggestion to do this will solve a number of problems. I think that the transparency, which she has pushed for since she arrived on this board, which I think is welcomed by the Finance Department, which does an excellent job, by the way. This is not by any means any reflection on them. They are extraordinary and somebody, a group of people I trust and admire tremendously, and we are clearly very fortunate to have the people we have. What this would do, I think, is allow for more extensive discussion of the budget in pieces rather than it all coming at once. And because I think the way the committee functions in terms of passing things on to the board, I think this is a very good idea. Thank you.
Other discussion?
I like to suggest, and I just want to make sure that, if we do bring in other topics to talk about in the committee that we make sure we never cross the line between oversight and operations. That's something we have to be very careful of when we start talking about staffing.
Yeah, no, I'm literally talking about the big buckets so I just went back to last year, so January, February, March, April, there were big bucket items that were discussed at Finance Committee, that those pieces, once again, the weeds are kind of worked through, there can be an executive summary that comes up through, because that is exactly the pieces that ended up being in our budget last time. And so if we're bringing that, again, piecemeal, then that will give everyone an opportunity, again, to be able to voice if they have questions or concerns about, the restrictions specifically.
Other discussion? Dr. Brady, are you clear on the amended motion? Thank you. On the amendment, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The amendment is passed. Any further discussion on the motion? On the amended motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you very much, and thank you for the discussion. We move to item 5.5. Mrs. Jones. The first item for you tonight is the agreement with Sweet Stevens, or the appointment of Sweet Stevens.
Good evening, President Cronenberg, Dr. Rizzo Saunders, Board of School Directors, colleagues, parents, and community members. Administration is requesting that the board appoint Sweet Stevens, Katz & Williams, LLP, as special counsel for the district for special education, pupil services, and other assignments as directed by the superintendent or her designee.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. The recommended motion is very similar to what you just said, that the board appoint Sweet Stevens, Katz & Williams, LLP, as special counsel for the district for special education, pupil services, and other assignments as directed by the superintendent or their designee.
So moved, Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. A second?
Second, Myers.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Sweet Stevens has been working with us for years. Is this a renewal of an appointment, or I believe we maybe never appointed them, but just contracted with them. Is that correct?
So it's my understanding that there was an initial appointment, but we should be periodically reappointing them. So I'm bringing this forward as kind of just a routine reappointment.
Okay. And this doesn't affect our appointment of our main district solicitor?
It does not. So they will serve as special counsel specifically for special education and pupil services related matters, and then other projects that we or Dr. Rizzo Saunders assigns to them.
And in the tremendous amount of very good work that you're doing, you're finding them helpful?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We move to item 5.6, a student agreement.
Administration is requesting that the board approve one confidential agreement and one confidential addendum to an existing agreement with the parents of students. Due to the confidential nature of these agreements, I am unable to answer any questions or discuss the contents in a public meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. The recommended motion is that the board approve one confidential agreement and one confidential addendum to an agreement with the parents of students. May I please have the motion?
So moved, Kramer.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Finnegan. Well, we can't discuss. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Ms. Jones, item 5.7, renewal of Come Alive.
Administration requests that the board approve an agreement with Come Alive for interpretation services. Currently, the district uses Come Alive to support parent-teacher conferences and to provide interpretation for languages other than Spanish.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. The recommended motion is that the board approve the agreement with Come Alive for translation services. May I please have the motion?
So moved, Kramer.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Ms. Golden-Miarki, any discussion?
This is yet another example of the complexity of support services that you all have put in place, and I appreciate that work deeply. In addition to the providing of more services and programs, as we voted on early in this meeting, I really do think one of the last things I get to say is that the motion in this district towards supporting, centering, understanding, and strengthening special education and ensuring that that is the heart and soul of our district is one of the most important efforts I've ever been anywhere near. And I thank everyone who was involved in that, every teacher, every aide, every administrator. Really important what you all are doing, and it makes an enormous difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Other questions or discussion? Mr. Finnegan.
Someone in administration told me this before, it may have been you, but how many languages do we have in Kennett now?
I do not have that figure. My guess is that Brenna Austin probably has that information.
Someone told me, I
and
forget who.
She is not here.
Okay.
Obviously, English and Spanish are our two most prevalent, but we are seeing an increase in other languages. And I can definitely get you that information. I can provide it to the full board.
I know it was a larger number than I thought it would have been, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
We're definitely seeing an
Many.
increase in more indigenous languages. And so we use Come Alive specifically for interpretation services that our current provider, No Boundaries, is unable to provide to us. Again, to ensure access. We want all of our parents and families to be able to meaningfully participate and engage with our school staff.
Thank you. Other discussion? On the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We move to item 5.8, redistricting of elementary attendance area. Mr. Tracy.
Thank you, President Cronenberg. The impetus of this agenda item goes back to the October Finance Committee meeting when we reviewed the demographers' enrollment statistics for two developments, one being Parkside, which is part of Kennett Township. It is located just north of the main entrance to Anson B. Nixon Park. I just found out today it is being labeled the Parks on North Walnut. So if you Google that, you'll actually see it come up under Mr. Burkhart's website of his team of realtors. At that time, they have projected a unit count of 241 units being part of that development. The demographer gave a forecast of a total of 75 new students coming from that development, spread somewhat evenly between elementary and secondary, 38 elementary, 13 middle school, and 23 at the high school. However, as these new developments come online, we take a close look at our 3 elementary schools, grades 1 through 5, and we try to distribute the population somewhat equally the best that we can, knowing it's a moving target. This currently resides in the Greenwood territory. Greenwood, as many of you know, has been near or at capacity for several years, cresting over 600. They're currently sitting at about 570. However, we have a 105,000 square foot Bancroft Elementary School that has about 380 kids in it. So it is the district's recommendation to target this development from Greenwood to Bancroft Elementary School. We have a cluster of developments in this area, so just north of that off Gale Lane, those individuals are going to Bancroft. A little bit west of that, also part of the old Greenwood territory, we have Longwood Preserve, which is a rather large townhouse community, so right next to Walmart. That is also now targeted to Bancroft, and the board made a motion several years ago to make the same type of redistricting. So hopefully with these moves, we'll see elementary schools all within the 500. New Garden Elementary School has just crested into the 500. As you know, there's a relatively large, the second community that we looked at was part of that presentation as well. But right now, with this development coming online, we do believe Bancroft Elementary School has the capacity and can serve this community better.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. The recommended action is that the board assign all parcels associated with the Parkside development, the parks at North Walnut, to Bancroft Elementary School's attendance area. May I please have the motion?
So moved.
Mr. Finnegan, second.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Garrett. I would note and affirm that we're not talking about moving any current students. This is an area under development that doesn't have anybody living there yet, that, as Mr. Tracy noted, has a neighboring development that attends Bancroft, and we would be assigning them to the same area. Also, as Mr. Tracy noted, this is taking them out of the Greenwood area, which has a lot more students, and adding them to Bancroft, which has significantly fewer students. So I don't think we're breaking precedent, and we're definitely not moving anybody from an existing school. Any further discussion or comments?
Yeah, on that note, given that we have kind of pockets, well, this will create another pocket of students going to Bancroft that technically in our current system would be going somewhere else. At what point does that conversation of redistricting come up as opposed to having these pockets that would otherwise go somewhere else? Yeah, I'll end there.
I think that's a good question. If anybody else wants to address it, I'm happy to. Go ahead.
We had situations previously between Mary D. Lang and the other schools where we, not just pockets, we had islands. We had little tiny groups of homes surrounded by other ones. So now with the new homes built behind Walmart and these ones, it's more of a section, and they're not being moved from one school to another, but as those homes are built, they're being assigned to a school. When do you do something with that? If the school enrollment populations start getting out of whack in one area, then you do have to look at doing a full redistrict, which we did before, which is quite emotional for the parents, and involves a lot of study, a lot of focus groups, a lot of presentations, a lot of input, and it's something you try not to do very often if possible. So taking these areas that are being built and assigning them to a district before anyone moves in and has to change the school is a prudent thing to do. We're going to have to do similar considerations to the homes going in behind Legacy Fields and the if and when the White Clay Point that we've been hearing about for 20 years ever happens. So the same conversation will have to be had, but I don't see us needing to do a redistrict for a while until all of these developments are built.
It's a great question. I think the short answer would be upon my retirement.
No. That's why I'm trying to get it in now.
I think what it does, it really, I would suggest that there's two big properties that really will shift the demographics here. Mr. Finnegan mentioned the one, White Clay Point. That is a game changer. We have anticipated 400 potential students coming from that. The other one is the NBF property in town. But it's never too early or too late actually to do a full-blown build-out study. When we built Bancroft Elementary School, we hired a company called, let's see, for the middle school we used Pell. No, I'm pretty sure we use them as well. So we've been using Sundance and Associates. But what you can do is coordinate efforts with the county and the municipalities, and they do a complete build-out study. And what that really entails is looking at all the properties across Kennett Consolidated School District to see what type of zoning. And New Garden Township is changing much of their zoning right now. So once that solidifies, I would say in 2 to 3 years, we can really go into a forecasting model that will take a look at all the open land and see what has the potential of actually developing first. That way, when you do go through a redistricting plan, it's never guaranteed for any certain years, but at least you get the most bang for the buck. You redistrict once and sort of done. So I would suggest within the next 5 years that this board at least engage that type of study, even if it doesn't lead to a redistricting. The 3 elementary schools have significant capacity, especially since we're maintaining the kindergarten center. So the district does have elementary capacity, which is a good thing. The buildings are paid for, you incorporated that. The secondary schools had much larger numbers, class sizes of 360 plus that went through the middle school. So we had over 1,100 at the middle school. You're down into the 9s now, soon to be 8s. And the high school had class sizes of mid-3s through 4 grade levels. So you do have capacity, so there's no urgency to that, but you don't want to lose sight of it either because you want to get ahead of it. So it's a great question. So I'd say 3 to 5 years out, that would be my recommendation, that you engage a full-blown study for a build-out, and then you can see where the demographics lead it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my question was really about if we have done this once before. To me, that's predictive, and I don't want us to be too far. And then it is a really, yes, it's a big deal to do that. But we've talked about the capacity at Greenwood for some time now, so just wanting to put that on the radar.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. I agree with you that it needs to be on our radar. And Mr. Tracy, I appreciate your suggested timeline. And if there's a game changer or if things change, let's start talking about it. On the any other discussion? On the motion for redistricting, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We move to the public comment to address items not on the agenda portion of our agenda. We have two speakers tonight. First up is Ms. Dina Marie Vanover of Landenberg. Ms. Vanover, thank you for being here, and the floor is yours for up to 5 minutes.
Yep. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to talk tonight about an issue that occurred at my son's school that I wanted to make in full transparency aware to the community, because the community that his school is in is similar to our community. On October 31st, Pathway, which is an approved private school of the state, was placed under lockdown for over 2 hours with no information. The cause was an unplanned where they pulled over people near the school district in a community. So it was not something that was planned, and during that time, one individual escaped custody while the other person was being detained. Federal agents arrived but did not identify themselves on the school property, and because they had been given direction to be on a lockdown, shelter in place, they could not get any information. We immediately called local police. We were referred to West Norriton Township, and what we got from the officer on there was federal agents have taken this over. Hang up. Called the state police. They said they had no information. Then was referred to Homeland Security, and you get press 1 for this, press 2 for this. So there was no way to get to someone. Told to call the FBI of Philadelphia. No one for, I was calling for over an hour. No information. Eventually, we called back West Norriton and we said, can you at least tell us if this is an active shooter, or if this is, what are we preparing for? We have, this school has a little bit less than 200 special education kids spread out on a campus. Around 1 o'clock, so we were notified via text at 10:54. Around 1 o'clock, we received a notification that they've released the lockdown and that the children could start going home. At the time, I had called Pupil Services when we had a lack of information, and I had asked for help. They were not aware either. And so my whole point of sharing this with all of you is that because we are living in a different time where federal agents may be more involved than usual, it appears that it's not that the local police did not know what was going on, it was that all the proper information was not shared. In a planned, what was told to us is in something that was planned that's going to happen and they know something may be happening, there's a lot more communication between local and federal. But in this situation, there was not. And then the school district was not made aware of that. And so we had parents that were frantic for 2 hours. Kids, my son told me that he sat under his desk for 2 hours. So I just wanted to make I think that this is an opportunity. I'm really not here. It's not blaming Pathway. It's not blaming the police department. It's just the situation that we're in right now. And I really thought that this could be an opportunity to look at our emergency protocols at Kennett to make sure we have the proper protocols in place for something like this, because it was very scary, that you can partner with the approved private schools. So, obviously, my son is a member of the district, but he does not go to the school here, but we want his safety just like we would anywhere else. I know nothing about the community that he's in, so it was really hard to get the information. So if a child goes to a school that is supported by the district, can the district share best demonstrated practices from this as well, so that they can, 1, keep you informed, and 2, we get the same type of communications that you would if your student was here. And then really, it's really to make sure that there is something in place, continuity plans, disaster rails, rapid response opportunity, because anything can happen at this point in time. So again, my whole point is sharing with this is that I really do want to be an advocate to our community here. I want to be an advocate for children that are part of the district but may go to different schools here, and want to ensure that all of us can have a place where our children go that we know are safe. It was very unsettling for 2 hours on Halloween to experience this with my child, and I wouldn't want to see anybody else go through that. So that's really just what I've asked. I did put together a handout on what I just shared with you, so you have the details with those 3 asks that I'm just asking the board to think about and consider, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Ms. Vanover, thank you very much. I know that we have updated policies and procedures within the district recently around these sorts of things, and we will continue to do so with the addition of information like yours, which is new situations that we encounter. Thank you very much. Next up is Mr. Rick Bochansky of Kennett Square. Mr. Bochansky, the mic is yours for 5 minutes.
All right, thank you. I'm Rick from Kennett. All right, the gentleman in the back on the computer, would you mind going to the Kennett, I need him to go to the Kennett Consolidated School District. He
No,
can't
thank
do
you.
that?
No, thank you.
Why can't I show them the...
This is public comment, Mr. Bochansky.
Okay. So, well, I guess I'll explain what happens here. I'm just, is there a policy that says you can't show the school library website?
Mr. Bochansky, this is public comment. You may use this time at your will, but we are not visual aids for your public comment.
Oh, can I go back on the computer and do it myself?
No, thank you. You have the microphone for up to 5 minutes.
Okay, well, if you go to www.catalog.kcsd.org, that's the public link for the Kennett Library, and then under that, there's a link for Kennett Middle School. Then you can click on Electronic Resources. Then you can go to Access PA and Power Library. Then there's another link under that for books, movies, and more in a PA library, parentheses, Access PA catalog. And some of the examples of the content in there, one I mentioned before, Californication, sex tape, shameless sex, choose your own pleasure path to unlock the sex life you've been waiting for, Sex and the City, and by the way, these are all actual digital material. A lot of it has nudity in it. A lot of it I would consider pornographic. If you don't consider pornographic, based off what I explained before, that's a whole nother topic. And another example is a kid's book about being transgender. So I've talked with Mike about this, and my understanding is that if, say, a student requested, this content, there would be a process they would need to go through. And I reached out to power librarians, and they seem not to have an issue with this material. I reached out to Kennett Library. They don't seem to have an issue with any of this material. So my question is to the board, since ultimately, my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, that this would be something if a student requested this material, or even a member of the faculty, because maybe this is considered educational material. My question is, would anyone on the board, does anyone have a problem with any of this material? And I've been asking about this actually, I guess, for, I don't know, months now. And I'm not getting an answer, which is indicating to me that I think some people do have a problem with this. There is concern. Because if there wasn't, just tell me. Like, if you think this stuff is good for kids, just tell me. Also on the website for the school district, under supply lists, there's suggested supplies to have available at home: a Chester County Library card, Kennett Library, or other. I was speaking over email with a power librarian, and she mentioned school libraries have access to Power Library. It was also mentioned that there's seamless interfaces for students to allow students to obtain access at school without a login.
Mr. Brzezinski, you're at 5 minutes. I invite you to wrap up.
Okay, I'm done.
I would note that the links that you are mentioning are blocked within kind of KCSD buildings. When students are in their own home, we don't have control over them, nor should we. But links are blocked by KCSD Wi-Fi within buildings. I would also note that you've been given in your meetings with the administration multiple answers, the same answer multiple times, and you're still asking the same question. And that's your right, but the answer is not going to change. Mr. Brzezinski, thank you very much for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
I disagree. I'll be back to further explain next meeting. That's inaccurate, sir.
We move to the calendar of events. We are coming up on Thanksgiving. There's no school Thanksgiving week. There are school conferences during Thanksgiving week. So if you are interested in meeting with your child's teachers, please do so during that time. Next board meetings, on Monday, November 24th, we have a policy committee meeting at 6 p.m. and a curriculum committee meeting at 7 p.m. And then the district is closed for Thanksgiving break Wednesday, November 26th through Friday, November 28th. The board next meets in a new configuration on Monday, December 1st. We have a reorganization meeting with our new board members, and I welcome Jamie Blevins-Rain and Ann Perry, who were recently elected, here tonight. Thank you for being here. We will see you again in a more official capacity on Monday, December 1st, with a school board meeting immediately following the reorganization meeting. Is there any further business for the good of the board? With that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.